Welcome to another big day. Every day we remind ourselves that there is a face at the end of the work that we're doing here. We run at a pretty intense tempo on a daily basis. Most people, or all people, come in and it's pretty much a 12-hour day, and from the minute that they're briefed to the minute that they leave, everybody comes in and they roll up their sleeves.
On the 15th floor of a Melbourne office building, a team drawn from across the country is preparing for another day of managing a crisis in aged care.
Just looking at the map by geography, we've still got the heat map here, which you can see the lighter colour circles are the ones where the outbreaks are starting to come off. A quick look at the epidemic.
We've got about 65 people and 21 different agencies that are represented here. We've got specialists in here, we've got geriatricians, we've got infection disease specialists, we've got epidemiologists, we've got aged care specialists, Australian Defence Force.
Now in its 6th week, the Victorian Aged Care Response Centre was set up quickly in July as aged care outbreaks worsened to organise training, support and extra staff to aged care facilities across the state.
Part of my job with helping with manage the clinical waste and this huge exponential increase, 100 times, 200 times increase in clinical waste at some of these facilities. Did the truck turn up? Did it take your bins? Did they take enough bins? How much of this infectious waste are you actually making every day? We've got about 43
facilities.
We've got 43 facilities on our list at the moment who we're providing support to.
The aim was to respond to this pandemic that came upon us rather quickly and escalated even further.
So there will be a transition plan at some stage. We're really here for the surge workforce during the current pandemic. And
we know that if a staff member in one of these facilities returns a positive COVID test, they're out of action. But the bigger impact is coming from their close contacts, where you can actually lose a team or a number of teams across a number of shifts. So that's the challenging of them being able to identify a team, deploy a team and provide that continuity of care for these residents.
Don't say the Q word.
One of the teams has been sent to Kalina Care, an aged care facility in the western suburbs of Melbourne that earlier this year failed a compliance audit by the regulator.
And we'll just keep doing what we're doing and looking after the residents. Yeah, excellent. And we'll have a good shift.
A team of nurses who have volunteered to help has been flown in from South Australia.
We come to our shift at the facility here. We have our temperature checked by security. Once we're inside, we put on our full PPE and ready for our shift.
Inside, registered nurse Belinda Stewart and her team have been working to reassure and care for distressed residents. 23, or more than a quarter of the 85 residents living at the facility before the pandemic, have died from COVID.
We've had a few challenges. Majority of residents are from non-English speaking backgrounds and they're not seeing their families face to face like they previously were. So yes, they are worried. A lot of them watch the news. In the short time we've been here, because we're at one facility for 4 weeks, the residents do know who we are now, and I think that really provides reassurance for the residents as well.
More than 100 kilometres away, in the town of Castlemaine, Alicia Campbell is anxiously monitoring news from the Kalina facility, where her 93-year-old grandmother has lived since 2018.
My grandmother, who I call Baba, Ukrainian for grandma, I've been her carer for a long time. Residents started to test positive. Then we started to get communication from management to say, look, we're struggling to get staff.
Back in early August, before the Victorian government assumed control of Kalina, Alicia says her grandmother's level of care had declined.
She said she hadn't had a wash in 10 days. She had to go looking for her medication and her breakfast at 11 a.m. The next morning. They were really just left to their own devices.
Okay, come.
Since the government took over our facility, I cannot fault what has happened. They've just worked like a well-oiled machine.
All right, afternoon everyone. Again, another big day. Some good news is that we do not have any facilities in the red, so that's a really good outcome. So well done to
make certain prevention teams.
Back at the response centre, it's late afternoon, and a number of aged care facilities, including Kalina, have been moved down from the most serious alert level. But there's still more work to be done.
Despite us not having anybody in the red zone and things looking like they're ticking along normally, we've had a facility that's got into a bit of trouble today, so I've spent quite a bit of the afternoon dealing with that.
The response centre was always designed to be temporary. And while there's no real end in sight, its staff are learning difficult lessons along the way.
This has been a challenging role. Knowing that we couldn't do as much as we would have liked to have been able to do in the earlier days does not sit well. When you're in a challenging environment where you just did not have enough resources, you had to become creative. There's some hard decisions that needed to be made with regards to how a facility would be resourced. So my thought is with the permanent staff within these facilities and digging deep to be able to support the care of their residents.
If the community transmission comes to zero, well then we've got a chance of getting aged care to zero. The focus is to make sure that it is stable enough that it can be managed through routine arrangements rather than having a centre like this.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.